You're listening to the Good Question Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Our goal is to make each of our guests exclaim, that's a good question. I don't know the answer. Because when that happens, it means you, the listener, may be inspired to learn more beyond the interview and to ask great questions yourself that lead to new insights. In this podcast, we cover historical and current anthropology, comparative religion, and history. Welcome, and let's get started.
Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Good Question Podcast. My guest today is Sarah Vilenskiy. She runs a company called Blossom Essentials. They're based out of Austin, Texas. That's where I'm at too. She was very gracious and gave us some samples to try. I just use soap for everything. My daughters are horrified by it, but my wife used it, and she said it was really good on her skin. My wife has like a hypermobility disorder, so she said, I guess the nature of her skin is different, and when she puts creams on, they sit on top of her skin instead of absorbing. But her feedback was that Blossom absorbed really well and was just a great set of creams to put on. So I just want to give everyone feedback listening. And welcome, Sarah. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, and I'm so glad to hear it's been helping your wife.
No, excellent. Well, tell me a bit about your background, like what led you to create this line of products in the first place?
Yeah, so I actually have severely dry skin, but on top of that, I have incredibly sensitive skin. I'm allergic to pretty much everything outside. I took one of those allergy tests before Blossom, and I was allergic to 49 out of the 60 things they test you for. So I learned that what I body is so important because really anything can cause a flare-up. So it came down to just creating something for myself that, number one, gave me the long-term effects I was looking for, but then number two, didn't cause, any reactive issues.
Okay. So what kind of products did you try first? How did you formulate them? I mean, without giving away secrets, was it difficult to formulate stuff, or were there base products available that you could build on?
So we own all of our formulas. They're proprietary. We essentially did kind of start from scratch in a sense. I did a lot of research on the market around balms and versus a cream. And I had learned that, when dealing with very, very sensitive dry skin, you should go more towards a balm, which is essentially waterless. It's anhydrous in order to create that occlusive barrier on your skin and help it really sit there longer, penetrate deeper versus a cream that's 70% water. Typically, it will dry out your skin quicker and you will have to keep reapplying it, or you'll just get less long-term benefits. So that's kind of where it stemmed from. And then, I did a lot of research on our actives, our primary ingredient, amongst a few other incredible ones in our hero product, which is our day one product, the Hydration Repair Honey Salve. Again, that's a salve, so waterless. I spent a long time researching ingredients that would help with reactive skin, damaged skin, any sort of flare up within the dry skin realm, because a lot of them are they're autoimmune disorders, eczema, psoriasis, etc. But what you can at least do when living with those conditions is control the flare ups and live with healthy skin, even if you are living with those autoimmune disorders. So I did a lot of research on that, and we came to the conclusion that Manuka honey was going to be our hero star ingredient for the formula. Now, I do want to premise this by saying that a lot of brands that will, and I'm not trying to shoot them down, but it is what it is. A lot of brands will say they're using Manuka honey, and then they'll either use a honey extract or they will use a tiny little sliver, 0.01% of honey, and then smack it on the top of the label and call it a marketing term. And say this is a Manuka honey based product. And in fact, it really isn't, because you don't have enough of it to actually get the benefits, which I will go into in a second. But what we really found important with our formula, it's really interesting, is that you really need a lot of it to get the job done. So 3% of our formula is actually medical grade organic Manuka honey. And Manuka honey, again, can only come from New Zealand, or there are Manuka bushes in Australia as well, but primarily it is in New Zealand. Now, if somebody says they're getting it elsewhere, they're not using authentic, raw Manuka honey. So that's definitely a red flag. But yes, it only can come from the Manuka bushes because that's where they're harvested with the bees. And we use...
So what does that do, the Manuka honey?
Yeah, such a good question. So essentially it has 100 times more potency of methyl glyoxal, which is the compound that is the antibacterial properties of honey as a whole. So raw honey honey, table honey, all of that has way less percentages of methylglyoxal. And so by using more of it, you're really, really having that powerful kind of like attack on the skin, on the inflammatory response or whatever, is going on your body. And so it's way more powerful. I don't want to say healing because that's, an OTC term, but honey itself, and not going into my product specifically, honey in itself has healing properties. It's, been used for centuries in regards to that. And so Manuka honey, just like a power boost, if you will, on those properties.
Okay, so Manuka, I guess it doesn't make things greasy, does it affect the consistency of the products and how they go on? Or does it help?
Yeah, definitely. It can very well be sticky. Our product does not, thankfully, and I'll go into why. But if you slather honey on yourself, it's 100% going to be very sticky. Because we mix it with sweet almond oil, coconut oil, a lot of other carrier oils. It's able to dissipate the stickiness, and it's just really, really gentle. In fact, it's actually not greasy. We've figured out a way to make it more like matte, and it almost becomes like a gentle oil that melts onto your skin on application, even though in the jar it looks like it's going to be super, super dense.
Oh yeah, so the honey, what does it do with the product versus not having it? Having up to 3%, what are some of the effects you were getting before?
The antibacterial properties for sure. Obviously, a lot of other ingredients have antibacterial properties as well, but this is like a powerhouse ingredient in regards to killing the bacteria that's causing the flare-ups in the first place. And then so you're helping soothe a flare-up like at the time, and then you're preventing future flares as well with continued use, because you're just making sure the skin barrier is healthy. You're making sure that, the environmental triggers that are typically causing flares can't penetrate the skin. And then continuing to keep it moisturized and hydrated is really, really important for combating against flares as well. And Manuka honey does have those properties as well. So it's not only an antibacterial, it's a hydrator, it's a moisturizer. It's such a well-rounded ingredient. And then all the other oils are just that added benefit of antioxidants, those hydrating properties, the moisturization, of course, the skin barrier. I'll talk a lot about that and the importance of it when dealing with severely dry skin. And so you kind of need all of it in one. So it's not just like, let me go put some Manuka honey on, because that's not a very pleasurable experience. You're going to feel like it's disgusting. But by using this salve that's combining all of those ingredients with the very high percentages of the actives, you're able to get everything all in one.
Okay. Is there any problem with spoilage or anything like that?
So what's really cool about the salve specifically is that it's anhydrous, which means that it's waterless, what causes mold. However, with that said, we absolutely have natural, safe preservatives in all of our products, including the honey salve, just to be safe. But again, even our aloe vera, we use aloe vera powder in order to mitigate any risk of there being any such, derivatives of water, because, aloe is like 90% water.
Okay. So it works that way. Anything else that you're working on adding that's maybe tricky for, future products, or is that proprietary?
Yeah, it's definitely proprietary, but we have our main ingredients that we love utilizing across all of our different products. Not every ingredient is in every product, but there's definitely quite a bit of overlap, whether it's ceramides for the skin barrier, marula seed oil, which is an incredible antioxidant. Sea buckthorn has a ton of omegas, which is, fatty acids to help, again, moisturize, hydrate, replenish the skin, really soften it, etc. And so we kind of have a lot of that overlap. But we have a whole line of products. Our honey salve is our day one for sure, but we have now a face cream, we have a cleanser, we have a whole body line, we have oils, so the concept for us was, for Blossom as a whole, is to offer a line that is simple, evergreen, boasting longevity, rather than we're just going to follow the trends and see, just grab onto the thing that, is going viral right now. That's absolutely not us. We're doing a lot of research on our ingredients. We're looking at what might not be the shiny new object, but it has a plethora of science-backed, clinicals behind it and data. And so that's way more important for us to make sure that, when dealing with super reactive skin, we know wholeheartedly that the ingredients we're choosing are going to be okay for the people that, they can walk outside and they get a flare up. So it's of the utmost importance that we're not just following those trends, and we're doing, the due diligence that we need in order to feel confident that what we're putting out there will be okay for those people.
And what makes people sensitive to certain creams? Do you know the ingredients that cause some people trouble?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the top line ones like fragrance or, the PFAS or the silicones or the mineral oils or, SLS, sulfates, etc., which we obviously stay away from all of those. But we actually go deeper than that. Like ylang ylang is a wonderful natural ingredient, but actually it can be very reactive for people with sensitive skin. So it can cause a flare. So like things like that is where we go a step further and make sure that even at a natural level, it's going to be okay for those people. I mean, everybody has different allergies. A lot of people, which we learned, it's not just to the extent of a nut allergy. People have coconut allergies. People can't touch alcohol-based products. We have all of those customers, and thankfully we cater to all of them. We have a nut-free version of our honey sad that's also coconut-free, and I made a point to do that because I knew there's actually quite a large market of people that are allergic to coconut, and coconut derivatives are in quite literally like every skincare product now, including a lot of ours. And so, those are the things I'm thinking about when I'm creating a new product. Do I want it to have coconut? I know I'll never touch alcohol because that's really, really reactive for a lot of people. So it's kind of like those types of conversations I'm having rather than the general, like, please God, don't touch anything that says fragrance on the bottle.
Is the line for specified for men and women, or are there different lines for both, or is it just one for both?
Oh yeah, no. We are inclusive of every gender, every race, every age. This line is for absolutely everybody, except honey in general is dangerous for children under 1 because they don't have a developed immune system yet. So that's the only thing we say is just children under 1 should not use our honey salve specifically.
But, your customers, if some people are like, I don't know, like how different is someone's skin if let's say they're African American and they're really dark versus someone that's like really, white and pale, like they're all Irish background or something. Like, will the same products work for both, or they have to be tweaked for different, skin consistency or constituents?
No, it should all, theoretically, it should all work. But we haven't had any issues to date. In fact, we have people of all races saying how it's helped them dramatically. So, we've never like thought, oh, we should make a line for this race or something like that. It's, we're at the forefront. We're just focused on super hydrating, super skin barrier focused ingredients and formulas. And, we're not like fixing hyperpigmentation, which is definitely, difficult for different races. You have to do multiple lines. So for us, it's very much, everyone is invited to use Blossom.
And then age, you said under 1 year old. I understand about the honey component. What about older people, like in their 70s, maybe their skin's thinner and it's changed a lot, like do you have a line for older people, or does the normal line work well for them too?
It's funny you ask that. Our demo actually stems in the menopausal, perimenopausal, postmenopausal frame of age groups because aging men and women, yes, exactly. Their skin is thinner. They're going through hormonal changes, and they get prickly skin. The itchiness, the dryness is just like so difficult to control. And so because our products actually just focus really on that, our demo really adores this. Like if you look at all of our reviews, we ask for our ages and it's constantly like 65 plus, 75 plus. It's wild.
You sell just to people in the US, or are you getting international attention too?
Not too much internationally at the moment. We are definitely focused on the US, especially as of late with everything going on. It's become more difficult than ever to expand internationally, but we do offer international shipping if somebody, they have to just pay up front for the tariffs and all of that. And that's calculated really easily through Shopify. So we're very grateful in that sense that we can offer international pretty seamlessly and transparently. But with that said, it's definitely dialed down since everything has gone on. We were definitely doing more prior to our current sitting president.
Are there any groups that you're getting surprise feedback from? Like, are there any types of people that you were like, oh, wow, I didn't know it would help them?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that actually happens a lot. A lot of people use it when they're going through chemo radiation therapy because their skin dries out so much. So that surprised me in the beginning. And now I'm like, that makes perfect sense because we supply hydration. But then also we get a lot of use this on my dog. And I'm not going to say like, go and use it on your dog because, dogs are allergic to certain things. And so always consult your vet before applying it to your dog. But my dog gets really bad hot spots. Granted, he will lick the honey salve off if I apply it. So I have to only apply it to areas that he can't reach. And it really, really helps because they're very itchy and it helps subside the itch. So things like that.
That's cool. Have you considered making one for pets that they wouldn't want to lick? That would help them?
Yeah, it's so tough that, I am not a veterinarian and I have a dog and I, bend over backwards for him. And so I know I'd want to make the absolute best, safest, most incredible product out there. And I know, it would be a lot of time and devotion. So maybe down the road once, Blossom is kicking more, but we have so many exciting plans going into 2026 for Blossom. Like I definitely don't have the time for that right now.
Where is Blossom sold? Where can people get it?
Yeah. So Blossom, obviously we have our website, tryblossom.com, TRY Blossom. We're on Amazon. We are in beauty space in Walmart. So if you're familiar with the shop and shop concept like Sephora and Kohl's, Ulta and Target, it's the same concept. So we are situated inside of specific Walmarts, but we are on the beauty space. Like beauty space is the retailer technically, but it's in Walmarts. And then we're in New York. If anybody lives in New York City, we are in CO Bigelow, which is such a lovely store. And then if anybody's on the West Coast in Washington, we are in all of the metropolitan markets. And then we're on Nordstrom.com. And we will be launching, excitingly, I have a few more retail launches coming up, including Ulta.com. And then a few more that I can't quite say yet, but if you're going to follow us after this, you'll know pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's great. So the best place is tryblossom.com?
Yeah.
Okay. You get everything on there and versus Amazon. So, okay. Well, very good, Sarah. Thanks for coming on the podcast and, for making the products, first of all, and for being so generous to, provide us a sample. And I will be buying them regularly since you like it. So I'm very happy. Thank you.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that.
If you like this podcast, please click the link in the description to subscribe and review us on iTunes.
Thank you for listening to the Good Question Podcast. Please email support@thegoodquestionpodcast.com if you have any referrals to great guests for us to interview. Visit thegoodquestionpodcast.com to hear more interviews. And please help us spread the word by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to this podcast.